In just under 1 minute from now, at 11 o'clock on the 11th day of the 11th month, millions of people will stop what they're doing, observing a silent tribute to commemorate the fall of World War I, World War II, and the conflicts which have taken place since. This is BBC News. Good morning, this is BBC News and you're watching the scene live from the Cenotaph in central London on Whitehall, marking the 11th hour of the 11th month, on the 11th day when the guns fell silent on the Western Front, ending the war, they said, would end all wars. Of course it didn't, and the other conflicts of the 20th century and into this, the 21st century, are commemorated in this act of remembrance. We've been seeing scenes from around the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, as people stop and commemorate the fallen and those who still serve in Britain's armed forces. And of course tomorrow is Remembrance Sunday, the day when we see the traditional parades and celebrations. And for the first time, when Her Majesty the Queen will be not laying a wreath at the cenotaph of poppies, but instead watching from a balcony, observing the scene as the Prince of Wales lays the poppies on the monarch's behalf, and representatives of the Commonwealth and the different constituent parts of the United Kingdom, as well as ambassadors from around the world, will be at the cenotaph. So too, of course, an act of commemorance at the National Arboretum in Staffordshire, as well as we've seen in our pictures this morning. And that is, for the last decade, as Phil Mackey, our correspondent, was telling us this morning, an increasing focus of military and civilian commemorations, and representatives there once again, including the local MP Michael Fabricant, laying wreaths of poppies to mark this important day. We are 1 year, of course, from the centenary of the end of the First War, a war that people didn't, of course, use that description back in 1917 and 1918. The first of many wars to disfigure the last 100 years. An important war in terms of the many who were lost and the indignities that were suffered, which are commemorated around the world and in this important moment. Hello, you're watching BBC News. I'm Shaun Ley. Let's bring you some of the other developments around the world. And of course, on continental Europe, there are commemorations taking place today to mark that Armistice Day. In Paris, President Emmanuel Macron was joined in the parade down the Champs-Élysées before laying a wreath underneath the Arc de Triomphe at the tomb of the unknown soldier by his predecessors in office, former Presidents Hollande and Sarkozy, who were with him for those commemorations. We see the reverence there at the tomb of the unknown soldier. In the UK, of course, we've had the news today that some of the war memorials that were in place even before the First World War had ended are now receiving listed status to mark their unique presence whilst war was still being fought on the Western Front and elsewhere. And we'll see more about that, of course, during the course of today. The remembrance celebrations, commemorations taking place, of course, with Her Majesty the Queen, with the events tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow, as I say, Prince Charles will take centre stage at the Cenotaph in central London.